All right. Hi, everybody. Hey, Chris Kessler again, another Summitly Sessions discussion. Today, I'm super excited. I've got one of my friends, Danny Stone from Pura, joining us. So, hi, Danny. Thanks for taking some time to spend with me today.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Why don't you give a little bit of a background, some of your history, and then tell people what you're doing now and what you're responsible for at Pura today?
Yeah, so my name's Danny Stone. I've been in the customer support operations world for, oh gosh, I'm going to age myself, probably about, almost 20 years. It's been a fun journey. I've worked for companies such as like Tesla, Netflix, so kind of the big enterprise level type of companies, but then I've also worked for small startups and kind of growing industries, especially here in the state of Utah. We have a lot of tech and a lot of businesses that love to start off and really make an impact. Podium is one of those companies that I worked closely with. And then most recently, Pura, which I absolutely love. I am a senior support operations manager there. So I handle the day-to-day operations, and that's managing our BPO services, looking at our tooling infrastructure, and working closely with our internal engineering teams and program managers that are in charge of that, and really making sure that we're staying on top of delivering a world-class customer experience.
Sweet. Yeah. So you have been in it a while. I've been in the call center slash technology world for probably about the same time that you have then. So we've seen a lot of kind of evolutions of technologies and strategies and things like that. So we can talk about that a little bit. Maybe give people a little bit of a background or summary of Pura. Like here in Utah, I'm familiar with them. I've used, their products for a while, but it's a really cool company and a cool story. So you've been there for a few years now. Maybe tell people who aren't familiar with Pura, like what it is you guys do and some of that evolution that's taken place.
Yeah, I would always suggest go visit us at pura.com. It's Pura.com. We are I would say, industry leader in home fragrance and smart tools in providing a fragrance experience within your home. Hopefully, I'm representing our marketing team appropriately in that regard, but as far as a company, I've been there for a little over 2 years, and I will say it has been a remarkable experience for me to see the founder and obviously individuals that are within this company have such a passion and drive into delivering a fragrance experience to your home, to your car, and really making sure that it's top notch and that you are in control of how you show up into your space on a daily basis. I'm a big fan of the woods type of smell. And so one of the things that I always do is I have it on a timer or excuse me, not a timer, a schedule, where when I come home right from work, I have fragrance diffusing in my home. You get that smell of the woods type of feel within your home, and it's just consistently smelling wonderful in my house. And I have two cats. And if you are a pet owner and if you have cats, you probably know as well, just as much as I do, sometimes they can stink. And Pura very much helps me mitigate that with their fragrances. And so it's very much just a fun company to be a part of and be surrounded by individuals that are not only passionate about fragrance, but about technology and really just delivering a world-class experience to a lot of people that just want to have that comfort at their own home or in their car.
Yeah, no, it's a really cool company. I love the products as well. Like I said, I've been using them for a little while now, and I was looking around my office. I don't know where mine is. I think my 16-year-old maybe stolen it and relocated it somewhere. But there's a cool wall device that plugs in. You were telling me I don't have one of these, but there's a desktop unit that you can set on a table or a countertop or something. There's also a cool device for your car, and then it syncs with an app that you have on your phone, and it'll say what scents you have, so you can have a variety of scents. Then you can, like you said, have a schedule for each of the different units that you've got, when you want it on, the intensity levels, all those kinds of things. How many different scents are there now? I know it's always changing, but
Gosh.
there's a ton.
Um, I couldn't give you an exact number, but so Pure has its own line of fragrance that have actually grown in popularity since the company has started and it's very much grown. But we also have partnerships with like Anthropology, Capri Blue. We have done partnerships with Disney as well. We recently, one of the most recent partnerships we did is with Calm. For those that are not familiar, Calm's the app that will help you kind of run through meditation. And Pura partnered with them to be able to provide not only a scent experience with that meditation, but really just like taking scent and meditation to a next level. I can't say enough of how cool that type of experience was, and the fragrance is just fantastic. So I would highly recommend, if you haven't checked it out, please do check it out, because we do try to up level experiences that people enjoy on a daily basis.
Yeah, no, it's amazing, and they've, as a company, just really blown up. We kind of refer to them here in Utah as one of the unicorn companies. So it's been fun to see the evolution of the company and everything. As far as your go-to-market, which kind of will segue into your role helping with the customer experience and support and everything. So there's a big push for kind of that direct-to-consumer. So you can have the app, you can buy everything online, obviously. One of the nice things is when you find those scents that you like, you can set it up on a subscription model so they just show up, at whatever cadence that you'd like. Change the scents, all of those kinds of things. And you've recently had a big push where you're going through retailers as well. So maybe talk through that, just as far as where your customers are purchasing the products from, how you interact with customers. And then we can talk a little bit also just like, what's the company strategy as far as how you want to treat your customers, interact with your customers, those kinds of things too.
Yeah, as far as on the retail side, we have grown substantially within that space. Last year, we launched into Target, and it's been a very successful launch. As far as the total amount of doors, I wouldn't be able to quote you right off the top of my mind, but it's been a wonderful experience in partnering with Target and creating this relationship of bringing it to more homes within the United States. We also have partnerships with Nordstrom, and like I said, a couple of Anthropology stores also take our items. They've been a wonderful partner with us as well. Ulta has also. So we've really kind of, and shout out to the retail team that is at Pura. They have done a remarkable job in trying to just build awareness and these partnerships and relationships, and have done a phenomenal job in just building our presence with these partnerships. And they've done a really good job in just handling it. And I would say that kind of leads into kind of how do we want to show up in the customer support realm. Again, I think for anyone, you want to create a world-class experience, especially when it's a subscription service that we do provide, of where, we'll make sure that you are getting your fragrance on a regular basis so that you're never running out. And we very much try to do everything within our power here at Pura to create an experience that when you do reach out to support, it's easy, it's not difficult. We're really wanting to make sure that you are getting the sense that you want, and really you're just enjoying the product in its full. And I would say, as far as a company and our philosophy, like, we always want to just make sure that we're taking care of our customers, because it is always I would say a compliment to any company where somebody is willing to subscribe to you. It means that they trust you with their money, they trust you with the service that you're providing, and so we want to meet those expectations and make sure that customers that are signing up with us are really getting a world-class experience. And so our tooling, everything that we do within our organization is kind of geared towards that mentality, is that we want to provide a prestige experience especially for those that are subscribers with us. And that may be through tooling or through just kind of the different tools or automations that we use.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, no, I think that's a great summary, and I would agree. My experience, it seems like Pure is this innovative company. It feels like a higher end company, even though the product isn't crazy expensive. I think you guys definitely deliver that from a product and an experience perspective. So I've seen that personally. One of the things I like to get into on these discussions is kind of evaluating different scenarios where as a business or as a leader, you've had to deploy different solutions, products, processes that you have seen really move the needle for the business or deliver an ROI. And that can come in all kind of shapes and sizes. But you and I have talked a little bit about some of the things that you guys have tried to do. Is there anything that kind of jumps out at you that you guys have done as a team or a company that you feel like, hey, we went from this to this by, turning on this product, this feature, making this change within the team? Like, maybe give us something that comes to mind that you can think of that kind of speaks to that.
Yeah, I am. I mean, I'll speak directly to kind of our overall structure as a support team. As far as a product, we can be a somewhat of a technical product, but if we look at our entire volume and what's coming in, we don't run into a ton of technical issues. It's actually not majority of our volume, which is one is props to our product team that creates a wonderful product that is very reliable and is able to work and function. But a lot of the situations that we run into are just kind of order management, making sure that we're helping our customers with their subscription management. And previously, we were trying to add some complexity to help specialized agents work in specific areas. And we found that we were actually bottlenecking in a lot of different areas. And so we actually decided to flatten kind of our overall structure and make it more a general support. Granted, that may not be the long road for us, like as we continue to build our operations, but that helped us to gain more efficiency gains within really making sure that we were getting to customers' issues as quickly as possible. But also making sure that we're like, when customers are reaching out, one thing that drives me nuts, especially when reaching out to like a financial institution or somebody, there's always these specialty groups that you have to be transferred to in order to get your problem resolved. And in order for us to really deliver a world-class experience, we wanted you to reach out and then that person that you are connected to be the person that is able to resolve the issue. And so that's the reason why we flattened our kind of our organization when it came to how we organize channels coming in. To really just make sure that we're providing a world-class experience, a first-time resolution, and kind of mitigating the amount of back and forth that is happening. Was it
Interesting.
was it as easy as like flipping the switch? No, we definitely run into bumps. But I would say in the long run, since doing that change, I started with the company about a little over 2 years ago, but we've seen about a 15% gain in our customer satisfaction since doing that, and we're saving cost in our headcount because we don't need to hire specifically in these specializations, and it allows us to take a little bit more control and allow us to pivot and flex where to the business needs are.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. What I'd like to kind of dive into that a little bit, maybe for people who aren't familiar with the business model or just try to understand what that impact could look like. Maybe they want to look at doing something similar for their team, right? And want to figure out if that makes sense. So you talked about like an impact as far as customer service. So first of all, how do you measure that today? Do you do Net Promoter Score? Do you do some other measurement? But how are you actually measuring how satisfied your customers are?
Yeah, so when we fully resolve a ticket or an issue, we do have automation in our platform that will send out a customer satisfaction survey.
Okay.
And that's usually what we are evaluating through our customers, our ticketing system. That's where we're evaluating kind of the overall experience. It is on a 5-star experience, so we are just evaluating those, and we've tiered those off into different percentages based off of where it is. Very similar to a Net Promoter Score as well. Anything that's below a 3 we consider kind of in the negative range, and then a 4 and a 5 would be in the positive range.
Okay. And then you have kind of an overall team like metric, or you look at all of your feedback results as a whole. Do you measure that monthly, quarterly, weekly? And how did you see, like, how long do you think that took to get that 15% improvement once you made those changes?
So we do check it on a weekly basis. I'm the data guy, so I'm pulling reports on a weekly basis, sharing with my leadership and the executive team of kind of like what's happening within our customer support world. When we made that change, I would say it took us for probably about a month and a half to 2 months to just kind of get settled in. Mainly
Mm-hmm.
because we had to do a lot of cross training. We had to make agents feel empowered and really look at our process to say, like, what are the roadblocks that we need to get out of the way so that agents feel empowered to be able to resolve the issue as soon as they are contacted. And so it took about a 2 month process to really get us fully changed over. And then we started to see those incremental gains week over week within our customer satisfaction. And I'll say, as we continue to look at that experience, the thing that's been exciting for me specifically within the last 10 weeks is that we are just continuing to see our customer satisfaction climb up more and more. And it is with this mentality that we want to get the customer taken care of when exactly they're contacting us, and we want to empower our agents as much as possible to be able to resolve that issue as soon as the contact comes in.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm sure any group at the call center would love the idea of just saying, hey, whoever they talk to first can completely solve the problem on that first interaction. That's always kind of that, gold standard that everyone wants to try to achieve. What if we break down, I know Troy, the president of the company there, and you've got the co-founder. If you were to go to them and say, hey guys, look, we were able to improve customer satisfaction by 15%. In their minds, what impact do you think that has on the business? Do you think that means like less customer churn, so you're saving money and revenue? Does that mean more spend? How does that impact Pura, the company, by moving the needle from a customer satisfaction perspective, do you think?
I honestly, I think this is a question that happens with every executive trying to understand the value of their customer support team, because everyone obviously in the industry sees customer support as a cost. And so for me specifically, and I think most individuals, if you talk to anyone, they stay with a specific brand because they know they can reach out to that company and they will be well taken care of. And so does it mitigate, like when I go to the executive team and say, hey, this is the improvements we see? Yes, it does help mitigate costs in regards to contact rate, making sure customers don't have to reach out again. It also helps mitigate churn, making sure that the customer stays with us because they know that we're going to always take care of their problem. But it also strengthens the brand and reputation. I mean, Amazon is, I would say, the gold standard across the board, and they've got it down to a science of where they want to make it as easy as possible for customers to interact with them. They've automated their return process, the refund process. They've done so much in their automation. And then even to the point of where you finally do get in contact with an agent, they do still want to make sure that you have an outstanding experience. And because of that, so many people continue to come back to Amazon, work with Amazon, and do that. The same thing would be with Pura. As we continue to build that reputation of like, we will get your back anytime you reach out to us. We don't want you to reach out to us, but if you do, you're only going to have to work with one individual. We'll get you taken care of. You can feel confident that we will always take care of you, or like be proactive in taking care of you. And like you can just kind of go about worrying about the things that you need to do on a day-to-day basis and just enjoy the scent experience. And that's kind of what we're striving for, I would say, within our philosophy, is that, of course, we'd love it when you do contact us. We would love to mitigate that as much as possible. But then when you do, we're going to make sure it's going to be a gold standard.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. I think, as you mentioned, there's always challenges in making some of these big changes. So what were some of the more difficult things going from kind of specialized siloed groups or teams or individuals to a flatter organization where everyone can kind of be empowered to handle all the different types of interactions? What were some of those challenges?
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked this question, because this is where I feel like I can throw in AI here. And it's still work in progress. I want to make sure that it's understood. Like, this is something that we're continuously working on and improving. But AI has come in and been a powerhouse in this change, and it's basically being able to get information in the agent's hands, to be able to make a analysis of what's going on, understand a customer's history, what they've been through, how long they've been with us, and then be able to provide a quick resolution based off the information. And we're doing right now, and kind of like what we're in the process of, is leveraging our customers' information to be able to truly understand where they are as a customer and in their journey with us here at Pura. But then when they're reaching out, we're utilizing AI to be able to not only summarize and understand the sentiment, the frustration, everything that goes, but then helping AI provide quick solutions that the agent can quickly identify. I would say anyone that has worked in a call center or has been an agent, majority of the time that you're wasting is research. You're trying to find what is the right article that I can find in my knowledge base, or where's the escalation I need to know? Is this something that is an escalation? And so it's utilizing AI in a form to be able to take all of that information that is already existent within your company and then bringing it all into a central place where your agent is then able to say, oh, I know this is the type of trend that's going on. I know this customer has been a subscriber with us for 2 years. They've done a phenomenal job in, being active and stuff. Well, let's go ahead and resolve their issue on a technical issue based off of the alert that I see. And let's, since they've been with us, let's try to surprise and delight here. And that's kind of like what we're trying to do with AI in our tooling. And that's kind of the bigger challenge is how do you get all these different data points and serve it up in a way that is digestible for your agents to work on and be able to execute flawlessly without having to go through so many hoops and hurdles to really deliver the experience.
Yeah. No, yeah, that is, I've seen similar benefits of AI tools in delivering, like you said, bringing all that information in real time to the agents to empower them so they don't have to jump around to 2 or 3 different, systems or transfer completely because they don't have access to the data. So I think was there, and you don't have to share brand names if you don't want to or whatever, but was there a specific product or tool leveraging the AI that was critical to giving that information to the agents?
Unfortunately, I think that is proprietary, so there's not a lot that I can go into there. As far as like customer, I will say as a ticketing platform, the one thing that we do appreciate about customer is having an open API for us to work in that space to be able to serve it up.
So you guys built like an internal tool to kind of pull all that data. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. I was curious as we were talking about that, if you were to look at that same time period where you improved the CSAT by 15%, what do you think the impact to other metrics like average handle time, for example, was over that same time period? Did you see a change? Is it now taking a little longer because you're leaving that call with that one agent? That's kind of what I would assume, but what did you see with that?
We say for the initial, and that is the thing that you kind of have to understand is the give and take. Because of the learning curve, you definitely see AHT rise. And I'm going to we went to Vegas and Customer Contact Week down in Las Vegas. And for anyone that has never been to those events, I would highly recommend it. It's a great event to go to. That's the kind of trade-off that you would typically see in that type of a situation. The nice thing now is as we've integrated AI, you were asking the question, has our AHT? Yes, to a degree. And what I mean by that specifically is as we've implemented AI, automation, getting more familiarity with these, like the problems our customers are handling and trying to get this information. One, the simple, easy solutions. Yes, quick, easy. We've had a huge AHT gain in there. The nice thing though is we have seen a slight increase of AHT in escalated situations, which with AI specifically here is kind of a good thing because if your AI is not able to resolve the issue, you want to kind of take the time to truly understand, okay, with all the information and data that we have, we really want to understand what's going on here so that we can learn from it so that the next time this situation happens, the customer doesn't have to go through such hoops and everything. So yes, there are some AHT longer tickets that you'll have, and I think it washes out because those eventually will become shorter as you are training your AI or you're utilizing those tools. But it's kind of a continuous effect. I think with AI and especially how any industry evolves, that's always going to be the normal cycle. You'll see these increase AHT tickets, but those are great points to have of data that that you want to capture, and then you will take into your AI, train it to then help your agents execute or your automation to execute.
Yeah, no, I think that's true. I think with my other clients, and just in general, I see that as a best practice across the industry where, to your point, leveraging AI even to completely automate some of those simple repetitive requests, taking those off of your human agent and off of their plate. And that really frees up more time so that maybe the AHT for them is going up, but that's because they're focused on more involved, complex, types of interactions that require more time. And so that, I think to a smart business leader, that sounds like a great solution if you're looking at it properly, right? You're like, hey, we want my more talented, human agents to be able to spend the time that they need to and not feel like they have to be rushed because, man, they've got another call in the queue where a customer wants a status on a shipment. Well, that could have been handled by AI. So take that off of their plate and let them take the time they need with the customer who, needs more attention. I think that's
Yeah.
a great best practice.
And I think the most important thing, and this is something that I've learned not only at Pura, but previous places that I've worked with AI, and I think this is something important for all leaders to understand. Your work is never done in AI. As if you ever hear vendors ever coming in as saying it's a simple plug-in solution and then you can just kind of autopilot. I'm going to be honest, that's not the case. Unless you are just wanting the bare minimum. I feel like those that are industry leaders in AI and customer support, it is always an ongoing process. It is something that you will always need to teach, always improve on. But if you put the investment in and if you put the time in, man, you can really create some amazing stuff. And I, again, shout out to the Pura team. I will say the Pura team, for interactions that I've had with other companies, is probably the best trained team to be able to elevate our AI experience, look at the compliance area of AI and how to be prepared for it. But our developers, our engineers, they're just world class. And are we perfect by any means? No, but I would say we're darn good at what we do because we are consistently pushing ourselves and continuously learning, and we're just making our AI and our automation so much better.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, and I completely agree with you. Yeah, there aren't really any AI tools that are just going to do their own thing and be optimized. You need to constantly manage and enhance and evolve it. That's for sure. If there are teams out there, leaders out there that like this idea of trying to flatten parts of the organization or the entire kind of customer support organization to empower agents like you guys have, any kind of, top one or two hints or recommendations that they should consider, or maybe things that you wish you would have known before you started making that transition that would have made it easier for you?
I will say, I mean, my advice ever to any leadership, and I take this back to my Netflix days. The reason why I felt Netflix was so empowered in their leadership is they were constantly telling us to get on the front line, learn a ticket, do a phone call, do a chat, and not only is that creating your own experience and insights that accompanies the data and insights that you're doing, but it helps you understand the frustrations and flow. And I would say, if you're wanting to create that, call into your own center and see how that experience is from a customer standpoint, but then also an agent standpoint, and really challenge yourself to understand it from top to bottom. I feel like we were able to do it so successfully. One, because I have a wonderful, at the time, training manager, and she is remarkable, but knows the ins and outs because she has work tickets. She was made it a point to be in the ditches, and same as me, like I constantly am working tickets to try to understand. And because we had that knowledge, we were able to understand, okay, what are the barriers we need to remove? What do we need to train? How do we up level this? And that made that transition a little bit easier. I think also preparing your leadership for the gives and takes. Like I said, we did have a rise in AHT, and you have those bumps. But as long as you are communicating, providing the reporting, and saying this is where we're wanting to head, it makes that trust from the executive level be a lot easier for you to be able to just move ahead. And they appreciate it because then you see the gains in CSAT or you see the gains in, customer retention or loyalty because they don't feel like they have to bounce everywhere from one person to another.
Yeah. No, I think those are both great. I especially like the first one that you shared. It's amazing when you sit down with agents or you call in for yourself. Like I've been in scenarios where I'll be sitting next to a call center agent and they're making notes on sticky pads or they're opening all these random, notepads to make notes or whatever. And you're just like, why are you doing that? And they explain it. And then when you sit down and share it with leadership, they're like, oh my gosh, like I had no idea. And so I think that's a really powerful tip. Well, this has been great. I think, again, this is a common thing. I think almost every contact center or company would love to do a better job of empowering, their customer support teams to handle customer issues on the first call, and how do we leverage AI and other things to do some of this. So I really appreciate you taking some time to kind of walk everybody through this. You're on LinkedIn, so if anybody wants to connect with you, they can reach out that way. I'm sure Danny's great, and thanks again for your time. And we'll wrap it up and let you go.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Danny. Thanks,
All right,
everybody.
thanks.